What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet. This time we are actually live as we record this episode 2 of the currently untitled podcast. I'm joined once again with the folks over at Big_Breakfast on Twitch. That's my friend Jacob.
Hey.
And my good friend Ellis.
Hello.
And we are now using this brand new template given to us by our new friend Zanpons, who's in chat right now watching us. We're recording this live on Twitch. Of course, you may be watching it live on Twitch right now. You may be watching it on the YouTubes. And for those of you who were driven crazy last time by the technical difficulty of my camera being reversed, it is no longer reversed because I put a small amount of effort into this.
Pressed a couple buttons.
Podcast experience. Here's the thing. So we talked a little bit about why we were creating a podcast, and the obvious answer is, what's the obvious answer? You guys know what the obvious anser is. Money. I like money.
Yes,
I love talking to my friends.
Right,
I don't like either of you. Wait, no.
Shit.
But we currently don't have like any sponsors or anything like that. So this stream brought to you once again by the folks over at Mrs. Turpentine's Ass Sticks. That's right. If you know somebody with a quality ass and they have a stick up their ass, it's probably a quality stick. Mrs. Turpentine's Ass Sticks. We don't have any sponsors.
Wait, did they sell ass sticks or did they remove them?
No, they sell the stick that goes in your ass. You can also get them for free. Minor hack, you can get a Mrs. Turpentine's stick for free out of any Sonic corn dog.
Oh, wow.
They also sell a device to remove them. They've really cornered the market there.
We need like a trust buster for Mrs. Turpentine's ass sticks.
If you're tuning in for the first time, there is another episode previously that was recorded about 10 days back. You want to listen to that as well. YouTube, we had 50,000 views on the video, which is a lot better than I thought it would do. The watch time was through the roof. YouTube didn't seem to want to share it too terribly much, but that seems to be true of most content these days. YouTube just is kind of broken a little bit. But the real reason we're doing this is not just because of money. We're doing it because I wanted an opportunity to signal boost my friends over there at Big_Breakfast. So if you guys want to, give them a follow the next time you're on Twitch. If those of you live right now watching us on Twitch, there'll be a link occasionally in chat. And, of course, there'll be a link in the description box below here on YouTube. Now, we do like to talk about video games here.
Yes.
They're okay.
But we ran a poll last week, and that poll will be live again this week, asking what you thought about the show, what you thought about topics, what you thought about a title. All that stuff is going to be available if you want to vote for that. Here's the thing. Most people said video games, but only 50% video games. They want to hear us talk about life, the universe, things around us. They also said I bogarted the conversation too much, but here's the thing. I was so worried about everybody's audio last week. But that's just what it's like to be around me. That's how
conversations with Boogie's work.
I just railroad everybody all the time.
Okay.
That's okay.
I'm fine with it.
If somebody else talks, I might learn something. I can't.
And we can't have that.
We can't have that. No. I love being a 14-year-old man-child who will die 14 at the age of 55. Boy, a lot of people are going to be like, Boogie, you're expecting...
We should not laugh at that.
You should. We were like,
no, I will laugh at that. That's a good one.
Boogie, you expect to be dead by 55? Well, here's to hoping. Come on, that's 11 years from now. Come on, that's pretty good.
11 solid years of video games.
Solid years.
Look, let me tell you something. The year 2027 rolls around. At the rate it's going, if we aren't hoping to be dead by then, I'll be very surprised if you've been paying attention.
I'm holding out for Cyberpunk 2077. After that, I can check out.
Hey, you know what you know when that's getting released is 2077.
That was what I was thinking. Yeah, I got ways to go.
Got to live another entire fucking lifetime for that game. Actually, I heard there was a rumor floating around. I mean, you got to be careful because Kotaku and those websites, they'll publish anything. But, same way I'll publish anything as long as it gets views, baby. But that said, we'll publish anything. But the rumor has it they are fairly close to going gold. It might actually be on this generation instead of the next generation.
Really?
Yeah.
I was expecting at least 2019, like late 2019, maybe 2020.
Right. Well,
that still falls within this generation. Probably. We're probably going to get new consoles starting like late 2019.
Okay.
At least talks of.
So that is one of the things we wanted to talk about this week is that Microsoft bought up Obsidian.
Yes.
Right.
As well as a bunch of other studios. So I have a little minor leak here. We went to E3 this last year, and I was talking to Mike Ybarra. And Mike, I'm going to out you a little bit. Mike watches my content, so he might be a little mad when he sees this. But I'm talking to Mike Ybarra, and I'm like, Mike, can you tell me why you guys just bought up like 5 or 6 companies at the end of a generation? And he goes, well, Boogie, you tell me, why do you think a company would do that at the end of a generation? And I'm like,
that's
right.
exactly.
I'm like, well, it's so that you can dominate the next generation. And he goes, well, I'll neither confirm nor deny that. But that's one good reason to buy up a bunch of corporations to have a really good launch title. And so,
especially then to not announce a bunch of projects they're working on. They bought up a bunch of studios and then said, they're chilling.
They're waiting.
So he implied in that conversation, he said, we basically went in there to those companies and said, what project do you want to make? And they're like, what's our budget? And he's like, no, I don't think you understand. That's not our question. Our question is, what game do you want to make? We're Microsoft. We have the budget. Whatever game you want to make, that's what you get to make. So what do you want to make? What's your wildest dreams? I don't know if that's how it's going to play out or not. I
hope so.
Because you take a look.
We haven't had that in a long time.
Yeah, you take a look at every other Microsoft exclusive this generation, and it was filled with microtransactions. The Forza series probably being the worst of it. Not the Forza Horizon series, but the Forza mainline series, just filled with throwing microtransactions. I don't want an Obsidian game with microtransactions built in. But Jacob, what all Obsidian games are you a fan of? Obviously Fallout New Vegas.
My favorite is Knights of the Old Republic 2 Sith Lords, but I also really liked Alpha Protocol. And if we could get an Alpha Protocol sequel going, like Obsidian, if you're listening to me, please, I need it.
Alpha Protocol.
And what about Ellis? What Obsidian games get you turning?
So I've actually missed out on most of them. I played a little bit of New Vegas, and that was actually the game that kind of made me realize that Fallout's not my jam. And everybody was lukewarm on Fallout 76, and I kind of went into it expecting that. And I think I had a better time than most of the diehard fans did because I didn't have very high expectations.
See, the only Obsidian game that I really got super excited about was New Vegas. And if you look at the history, I was watching a video based on the history of New Vegas. They had to turn that game around in like 18 months, and they got a lot of trouble. Like, a lot of people were upset that it was a full-fledged, full-priced game, but it reused a lot of assets from like Fallout 3. But if you look at the 18-month window they had to create that game, of course they had to reuse assets. Of course they did. But that said, what an incredible game. Like, that's my real experience with Obsidian. Yeah. Well, Jacob,
you played a lot of Stick of Truth too, didn't you? You liked that game.
That's Obsidian?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Stick of Truth. And what's the follow-up?
Yeah.
Did they make the follow-up as well?
No. Fractured but Whole. They did not. I don't know who did though.
Yeah, I really enjoyed both of the South Park games.
They did like the Pillars of Eternity series, Tyranny, were their more recent games.
I actually loved Pillars of Eternity. That kind of slipped my mind that was Obsidian.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they reached out to me during the Pillars of Eternity stage. They're like, we'd love to like have you review the game. I was just like so depressed at that period of time. I wasn't able to do it.
Sure.
But yeah, they're incredible. Like, I guess they are aware of me. Obsidian, we love you. I hope Microsoft treats you fair. Who are the other companies? Jacob, can you Google that real quick for us? Who are the other companies that Microsoft has purchased? Because they picked up some pretty big name companies. And chat, if you want to help us out with that as well. But they picked up like 4 or 5. Now, here's the biggest issue that I have is if you look at a company like Rare. Look what they did to Rare. Rare got to make like one non-Connect game since they got bought up, and it was fucking Sea of Thieves, which was disappointing.
It was disappointing. It felt unfinished. It felt like not a full title,
Right.
That was like a $20 early access or, hey, come play our fun little game that we have, not a $60 full release AAA. Money sink is what it felt like.
Somebody mentioned in chat, too, by the way, that PlayStation canceled the PlayStation experience this year. And now they are also canceling E3. They are not going to participate in E3 this year. And
really?
Yeah. So I was curious, what do you guys think about that?
That's surprising because people are really interested in a lot of the things they have coming out, like Death Stranding. I know that was a pretty big deal. I guess a lot of the things we saw at the previous E3 have since come out, like Spider-Man. That was a big one that everybody was really pumped about. God of War.
I think this is a hubris style decision. I think they've decided we don't need E3 anymore. I think they're trying to do what Nintendo did and just start doing like Nintendo Directs or like PlayStation Directs or something. But I think canceling the PlayStation experience was a huge, huge mistake. because that's one of my favorite times. I've been to almost every PlayStation experience there was, and it's just a good time, and it's a great place to market the games. It's a great place to get back to the players, to the gamers. It's so frustrating that they're not doing that, and then to not have a presence at E3 this year. If they don't plan to do something just before E3 or after E3, this kills the E3 in a lot of ways. I mean, it's it's kind of bizarre to see them do that. So, for those of you who wanted to hear me talk a little bit of shit about PlayStation, I will do it gladly. I think PlayStation is going to fall on their own hubris here. I think they've chosen to set on their laurels this generation. You guys don't know this part, but it's difficult to get PlayStation to work with YouTubers anymore. It's difficult to get them to work with streamers anymore. Yeah. They're super concerned about like getting sued out. Not just me. I mean, my personal experiences with them has been pretty much the same the whole time, but I've heard from other YouTubers that Sony is kind of hesitant to even give out review codes sometimes anymore. So it's just, it's a company that seems to be making a lot of bad decisions. And if you look at the people who were there at the launch of the PlayStation 4, you had Jack Trinton, Adam, Boys, you had all these really, really great people who were the forefront. Shuhei's still there, of course, but Yoshida's still there. But so many of these people have abandoned the company. And maybe it's because of the leadership change, or maybe they saw things changing in the way that they were going. But I really feel like Xbox is poised to re-grab the market in this next generation, which I think we're going to see in 2020. So I'm interested. So what old companies has Microsoft purchased? Did you look it up?
Yeah, sorry, that took a second. So they're close to acquiring Obsidian. I think that's definitely going to happen. And then they acquired Playground Games, which did Forza Horizon 4, Ninja Theory, which did Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, Compulsion Games, which released We Happy Few, and then Undead Labs, which released State of Decay.
Yes.
And it brought all of those companies in so that they are now all first-party developers.
I could not get into State of Decay to save my life. I tried so hard.
It's just the kind of worst parts of a colony simulation game.
I wish there's parts of We Happy Few that I liked, but there was definitely parts of it I did not like. I'm not a big fan of the survival genre, and I felt like they fell right into that trap. It should have never been a survival game. Should have been a narrative-driven, non-procedurally generated game. It should have been just a really good story-based game, and it wasn't.
I heard amazing things about, I can't remember how to say that, Senua's
Sacrifice.
Senua
Hellblade. So I played through Hellblade and got bored halfway through, so I decided to watch somebody play the last half, because like it was very much pretty self-explanatory puzzle solving, and I didn't really enjoy the puzzle solving, and then the combat was kind of lukewarm. What was amazing about it, the engine was amazing, the graphics were amazing, the story was amazing, the actual gameplay was not that great. I'm very eager to see what that company will do.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because that was...
they made that game with a team of, I think, like less than 20 people.
And it was one of my games of the year for 2017. It deserves it. It's definitely an incredible experience. I think even if you just watch somebody else play it, you should. But the puzzle solving was... I never liked puzzle solving. I was kind of annoyed with it in God of War this year. So... specifically the way they were doing the puzzle solving is just kind of like looking around for the right rune somewhere on a wall or something. It was kind of weird, but I don't know. The story. Anytime you ever talk about mental illness in a video game, I'm into it. I like it. Hell, I played Depression Quest. So, and then what was the first company on that list?
Playground Games. The Forza Horizon 4 team.
Yeah, the Forza Horizon series is without a doubt one of my favorite series, and I finally installed my code for Forza Horizon 4 and started digging into it. And my God, is that game good. And I love the Xbox One X. I'm not going to lie. Like, I feel like a traitor sometimes, but my X is so good. Like, I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2 still, and I'm playing that in native 4K. So, pretty happy to see Microsoft poised to do well in 2020. Let's hope for 2020.
Hopefully they knock it out of the park.
Yeah. They didn't do too well this year.
Because we've seen what one generation of it's a lot of PlayStation 3 era thinking going on right now. It feels like a PlayStation,
Yep.
Yes.
But the games are, oh my God, the games have been incredible this year.
Yeah.
So it's
Monster Hunter was fantastic. I bought a PlayStation 4 Monster Hunter.
And then, of course, you've got Spider-Man, which was absolutely incredible, wall to wall, just from front of. I finally need to download the DLC for that, but who has time with this time of year, the holidays, and all the games that are out? Then we have God of War, which is absolutely incredible. And I guess there's a few games still coming out that they haven't done. There's like the zombie one. I forget what that one's called, like Day One or something like that. One day, survival style
Oh, yeah.
zombies, Walking Dead style something that
I
looked
remember seeing that.
looked innovative because it had like a ridiculous amount of zombies on the screen all at once.
Okay.
Oh, and apparently they bought Microsoft also bought In Exile Studios, which is creators
Oh,
of Path of Exile.
yes.
Oh, really?
Which has been
I'm interested to see what they come up with, because one of the biggest turnoffs for Path of Exile for me is that game looks terrible.
I got to tell you, I reinstalled it and
moist game.
streamed it the other day, and it looks a lot better than it did.
Oh,
The
yeah?
console version looks like dog crap, but I was surprised at how good the PC version looks. Like, it looks like maybe there might have been a graphical update since the last time I played it. And there was a lot of really like cool little bonus things going on. Like there's like the delving content and like there's seasonal content. That game,
Yeah. Mechanically,
really
it's brilliant.
good
Absolutely
now, yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It's been good since, I don't know, like the first expansion, and they keep piling on more and more and more and more. And if you want to play a Diablo game, play Path of Exile.
Yep.
I just wish it looked better, and I understand why it doesn't, because they didn't have the budget.
But the ridiculous amount of content there for free, and basically the only thing that affects gameplay that you need to pay for is stash tabs. Everything else is cosmetic, so you can basically play that game for free as much as you want.
But give them a couple bucks; it's worth it.
You'll buy it for the stash. You'll buy some stash tabs at some point. You'll put like $20 into that.
Best currency system, hands down. Absolutely.
So as of the recording of this, you can pick up Fallout 76 for $35.
That's true.
The game has been out for about a week.
You think that'll bump it up on the list past Spyro? Because currently it is lagging behind Spyro.
The Spyro remake is, we're laughing, but that's damn good. Honestly, I was really impressed. But
is it just a remake of the original Spyro?
It's
Remaster, and
it's a remaster.
It's a trilogy, right?
It's all 3 games. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look,
I like the first Spyro a lot.
If you look at, I'm going to go to Metacritic real quick. Let's see. So the reviews are finally coming out for Fallout 76. We have a friend, by the way, who is very defensive about Fallout 76.
We do?
Yeah, it's our good friend Flint, who plays the brother in my videos.
Oh,
and he's
yes.
very defensive of the game because he enjoys it quite a bit. And so
He likes it a lot.
For Flint or anybody else who's watching this right now, if you enjoy Fallout 76, I am not shaming you at all. You enjoy what you enjoy, man, whether it's Fortnite or Fallout 76 or Candy Crush. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to say you like whatever game you like. I'm not here to judge you. I am here to judge the game based on its individual merits. And so the user scores have been just bombarded on Metacritic at this point with a 2.9 generally unfavorable reviews. But the critic score, 26 reviews finally in now, and we're at a 55. Yeah.
That's low in the days where most people won't go below a 7.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting point. And so long story short, the complaints that people have about Fallout 76, we all played it a little bit, right? We all played the beta at the very least.
Yeah.
I did buy retail. I wish I waited till it was $35 to buy retail.
I can't believe how fast it's dropped. That's got to be embarrassing, right? As a company.
Yeah, and they need to. Whose dog was that? It was my dog Sammy. Sorry about that, guys. But we talked a little bit in the last podcast. We'll talk about it again here. The complaint I have about it, it's not that it's a bad game on paper. It's a lot of people are upset that it's not a Fallout game. It does use the Fallout graphics, it does use the Fallout engine, it does use the Fallout world, and it reuses a lot of the game mechanics and assets from Fallout 4. But what most people consider a Fallout game, New Vegas, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, those are the games I played, is the story, right? Fallout 3, you try to kill your dad or you save your dad. And Fallout 4, you either try to kill your son or save your son. And then Fallout 76, you're killing dragons.
Just doing whatever.
Just doing whatever you want.
Wandering around.
Surviving.
Right. And
I feel like this entire game was set up so that it was much easier to show your friends the cool base that you built. Instead of having to get them over to your house so that they could look at your TV, you could just like build a cool base. And then they were like, well, we can add some like game stuff around this, right?
And that's pretty much it. It's meant to be just a cool online experience. And as far as online survival games go, whether it's your Rusts or your whatever else, Arks, I think Ark is probably the quintessential one in that market. But
It's done very well.
Yeah, this one's okay. It's buggy. It's got issues. It's got stuff, and there's a ton of content there. It's a giant map. There's a lot of little weird little perks and Easter eggs, and it does take place in the Fallout 70 or the Fallout universe. It's definitely not a mainline Fallout game. But I think the reason the critics are so harsh on it, I think the reason players are so harsh on it is because it doesn't feel like a true Fallout game. I think the reason critics are so harsh on it is because of how buggy and how incomplete it released. I think
that's my problem with it. Is it feels incomplete. There's a lot to do, and none of it's that fun to do.
Right, and so I think a year later, if this game had come out a year later, or even push it back to March, I think it would have done a lot better. But there's a very interesting video out there. Big shout out to the YouTuber who made this. I believe it's the Dreamcast guy. I think it's him on YouTube. I'm not 100% sure. I'll try to figure out who it is. But I watched a video on YouTube talking about it. The video basically described what happened to Fallout 76. And he said that he met some of the developers of the game, and those developers basically said that there was no real push to make it a great game. They always had a release date, and it didn't matter how close they got to the release date. They were always going to release it on that date, no matter what the state of the game was. There was never really any feedback from the subreddits or anything like that. The community team never really communicated with them, and that overall, Todd Howard wasn't really hands-on in this. They knew that this game would make money no matter what, so it had a small resource base with a small team, and it was going to release in whatever state it was going to release in because they knew it would make money. And so in a lot of ways, it's easy to compare that to, say, maybe Diablo Immortal or Fallout Shelter or any of these games. It doesn't.
Or how we release movies now. I mean, that's why every movie is part of a franchise.
Exactly right. It's
they don't have to spend time on them. There's no push for a particularly good script or getting anything new or innovative because people will come back in for that old familiar memberberry.
Slap the Cloverfield name on it, even though it's clearly not a Cloverfield movie.
Yep.
And whatever, man. Let's just make money off of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I loved the Cloverfield. What was the one with John Goodman?
Paradox.
Yeah, 10 Cloverfield Lane was great.
That was actually a pretty good movie. Yeah,
it was not great.
Paradox was not great.
Not even good.
No, and neither of them felt even a little bit like a Cloverfield movie.
Yeah, I skipped Paradox. I think it was the Dreamcast guy. I'll try to if I do figure out who actually made that video, I'll list it down below. But I don't know if what he's saying is true or not. I'm not going to take his as a source, and I'm just repeating there is a video out there saying that kind of stuff about that. But you're exactly right. It's exactly, let's just push out another game. Let's make some quick money. It doesn't really matter if it's that good quality. We have a franchise. Let's build something on the franchise, put the name on it. We've seen that with Sonic games for generations. How did that work out for Sega? Let's not start doing that with beloved franchises like Diablo, like Warcraft, even, or certainly the Fallout series.
I don't know. I wonder if these are old IPs now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these IPs have been around for so long, and I'm wondering if the companies are just trying to see how big of a punch can they take? How much goodwill do we have, and how much of it can we squander on titles like 76 or Diablo Immortal?
And I'm part of the problem because they didn't send me a review code for Fallout 76. They sent some YouTubers free copies of the collector's edition. I wish, hey Bethesda, I would like a Fallout helmet, thank you. But I didn't even get a review copy of the game, and I have contacts at Bethesda. I'm like, hey, can I get a review copy? Radio silence because I think they know I'm gonna crap all over that game. I'd already crapped over a little bit, But that said, It I don't know. It just feels like Bethesda, Blizzard, so many companies are burning bridges. Everybody just seems so tone deaf.
I think with Blizzard specifically, it's because they're not Blizzard anymore. They're Activision Blizzard. Mm-hmm. And the emphasis is just every year more and more on the Activision. And that's how they release games. It's what we see. It's all more of a push for monetization and less of a push for, hey, I have an idea for a game I want to make that I think will be fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping this next generation will be. That's
That'd be nice.
Mike Ibarra, when he told me that at E3, I was just so excited. I'm just so excited that I really hope that's a place where we can get that. We're just letting companies build whatever they want. We're not worried about the bottom line. That's what made this generation of PlayStation so good. They could have monetized God of War. If you've played, I guess you guys didn't play God of War, but God of War has like some stuff that obviously could have been DLC. Like there's this mist zone where it kind of plays like a roguelike thing. If that had been a $15 DLC, I'd have bought it, but it wasn't. It was just part of the game.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter had, like, from the very beginning said that they will continually release monsters and content and new modes for free for the game's entire lifespan.
Right. So there's just been some incredible stuff going over at PlayStation. If Xbox could recapture that, I don't know, man. The gaming industry.
I have a lot of hope for them picking up all of these studios and going to them and saying, "What do you want to make? Let's make it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take over the next generation." That gives me a lot of hope.
Yeah.
Especially with the studios that they acquired. It seems like they tried to pinpoint people with a lot of different kinds of skills that make a lot of different kinds of games that are good and beloved.
So speaking of beloved games, we are all currently in our various stages of playing Pokemon Let's Go.
Mm-hmm.
It's very fun.
I just picked up my second to last gym badge. I'm going down Route 19, fighting off all the swimmers. So it's been easy. It's been really
I'm
easy.
right at the beginning of the game.
Quite easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very easy. I
doesn't-
got Zippy Zap on my Pikachu, and that move is it's absurd. It's like you push A to win every single time. There's not really any reason for me to even worry about type matching or collecting a powerful team of Pokemon. I can just use that Pokemon and that move for the whole game.
So I will play devil's advocate here and say that Pikachu can just ride your shoulder. He can just be there for his
sure.
If you want to play that game in a more challenging way, and I have chosen to do some gyms like this, make some character just a regular Pokemon that you picked up that doesn't have particularly good stats even, and have him be the right level to make that gym challenging if you want to do that. The problem is, innately, it's difficult to choose to do that. I feel like they made the game easy to play, and so unless you purposely make it difficult for yourself, it's not going to be difficult.
Yes. And how much of the onus is there on the player to set your own challenges?
Right. But if you do want to pick up that game and you do want it to be challenging, then you just take Pikachu out or Eevee out of your party and then just start building up a Pokemon on your own. It's going to be about as easy as any Pokemon game at that point. So what do you think about the capture system? That's my curious. Because after playing with it for so much, I prefer it to doing this instead.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yep. I'm completely done fighting wild Pokemon from here on out.
Yeah,
I will be annoyed if the next mainline game is like that, which it probably will be.
Right.
It just takes so much time.
And it's not like it's fun. That's not an enjoyable loop, right?
Right. Yeah, I never found it to be that great, honestly. And random encounters is fine. If they go back to random encounters, I'll be fine. But I would prefer I don't know. I do like the compromise of being able to fight Snorlax, for example, is the first monster that I fought, that you had to defeat him first and then ball capture him. If we go back to having to weaken Pokemon first, can we go to knocking them out entirely and then having the choice of whether or not to try to capture? That would be, because the way they do that with the legendaries, the way they did it with Snorlax, such a better system than trying to knock it down or having to use, which is the swipe that knocks him down to one hit point.
False swipe.
False swipe installed on my main Pokemon just so I can capture shit. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
So what do we think?
I also like the combo system as well, increasing the shiny rate and also increasing the IVs. So I'll use the fourth Magikarp that I find instead of the first one.
And it makes it more fun to grind. It gives me a reason to just sort of stay in one area and keep catching Pidgeys or whatever it is I'm looking for.
Now, players have found out the best loop for maximize. If you're not trying to catch a shiny of a particular type, if whatever the highest level area that you can catch Chansey's in, Chansey is the character that's worth the most XP. It's considered rare in most areas, so if you want to farm Chansey's, you want to use lures in that area. And obviously, if you're in post-game content, you want to do the cave with the high-level Pokemon in the 80, 90 levels. But
is
no matter
there post-game content?
Yeah, there's post-game content. Oh, there's a ridiculous amount of post-game content. There is a trainer for every type of Pokemon, all 151 of the OG Pokemon. And so you get a little badge for each trainer. You have to fight the Arcanite trainer, you have to fight the Chansey trainer, you have to fight the Bulbasaur trainer. And if you defeat all of those trainers, I don't know what you get for it. If you get anything, it's probably bragging rights. But post-game content after Victory Road and solving the story, that you then have 151 trainers to defeat. So there's a ton of bonus content this time around.
That's good.
And then, of course, there's still online matches and stuff like that. I don't like the online trading system. But anyway, for those of you who are looking to level up your Pokemon
Nintendo's
quickly.
not good at online anything.
They
never have been.
If you're looking to do an online Pokemon chain, you want to catch Chanseys for the highest XP, and then try to get as many bonuses as you can. And obviously, the highest level Chanseys that you can catch is the way to do it. Use lures, and you'll level up your Pokemon so stupidly fast. We're talking like 4,000, 5,000 per capture. With the right combo. And for those of you who don't know the trick, if you're going to play on a television anyway, use both controllers. Have you seen this trick? It's really smart. There's a little device that came with your Wii U where you could slide your two controllers into to make a more normal controller. If you use that device and throw two balls at once, you will get an additional bonus, a synchronicity bonus, because it thinks a second player is in the game. But since they're literally together, and so if you can have one side use Ultra Balls, use the other side use Basic Balls, you get the synchronicity multiplier. And it's just another way to level faster. If you're going to play on television anyway, no reason not to play it that way.
My main knock against this game is not how easy it is. That's fine. I can get over that. The fact that you can't do anything without motion controls. Everything you do, like catching and stuff, requires motion controls. And that sucks.
As someone who's a big fan of accessibility, and Nintendo is a company who's a big fan of accessibility. I have a good number of friends who love to play these games who are excited about the Nintendo Switch because of the removable Joy-Cons, because one hand is here, one hand is here. You know, with muscular dystrophy or whatever their disability is, it made it so much easier for them to play. And now we have a game that you can't turn off motion controls. Why, Nintendo? That's very frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Meanwhile, we have Xbox over here creating accessibility controllers for the PlayStation, or for the Xbox, and for PC. We're doing these ridiculous. I don't know if you've seen their accessibility.
We saw those at E3. Those were amazing.
And then Nintendo won't even turn off motion controls. Now, admittedly, if you do, have you played this in Pokemon Let's Go in handheld mode?
I have not yet.
That's mostly what I played
it's infinitely better in handheld mode.
It is better. It's still motion controls.
And I did buy the Pokemon ball.
Oh, the ball.
Which is kind of pointless as a Joy-Con. It's not particularly good. I love it for Pokemon Go. Oh, yeah. I don't know I think they coded it where you can only get one Mew out of it, but we will pair it.
Well, I just need to borrow it.
Right, but I'm saying I think it got a chip in there that says, somebody said online, one Mew per ball.
Oh, yeah. I just want you to trade it to me, and then I'll trade it right back.
Oh, to complete the Pokédex.
I don't care about having a Mew.
Oh, okay. I like having a Mew. He's sexy. I love him. Yeah, we'll do some trades. Because online trading is weird. You have to do... Have you done an online trade yet for this game?
Yes. Yeah. We've been trading all over our Discord to evolve Pokemon.
You should definitely be doing it early on to level up quicker, too, because, trade a Pokemon level quicker. So a lot of the times online, I've just been trading, here's a Nidorino for Nidorino, here's a Snorlax for a Snorlax.
Right.
But do it as early as you can, because those Pokemon will level faster. But you have to do this weird system where you pick three Pokemon, and you can't pair it with somebody specifically if you want to. But you can say our code is going to be Pidgey Pikachu, right?
Yeah,
and then someone who enters that same thing. But if you're not arranging,
you have to do it quickly as well.
You just have to wait till somebody else types in Pidgey Squirtle. And if they don't, you just sit there for forever.
Yep.
All right. So
you can create random rooms, because a lot of people just sit in the Pikachu room.
Yeah,
I think
what I've been doing.
Tile. So there's no wonder trading in the game, which was one of my favorite features of previous games.
Yeah,
but that's kind of a wonder trade.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's as good as I'm gonna get.
But Fallout 76 was a game I expected to not like, and I didn't like it. I expected to not like Let's Go, and I love it. I'm really enjoying as easy and as relaxing, as fun as one night on stream. I spent 3 hours just catching Ghastlies, trying to find a shiny, which I never did. I spent 3 hours the other night watching a movie in bed while just catching Vulpixes, hoping to get a shiny, and just grinding out the candy.
It's a great, relaxing game for that.
Right? Yeah, it's a nice little grinding game, and that's what I always wanted from a Pokemon game is a nice handheld grind while I do other stuff.
Something else.
Yeah, it fulfills that premise. Is it worth buying a Switch for? No. You know what's buying a Switch for is?
Breath of the Wild.
All the other games that are on there, right? Like this is just one of the 10 incredible games. But So I have a question for you guys. We all already own Switches, but if you didn't own a Switch, would you buy, knowing that there's a rumor that 2019 will show a brand new Switch with brand new hardware, with brand new perks on it, would you wait or would you buy one this Christmas if you find one on sale?
If I found one on sale, I would absolutely buy one this Christmas.
Yeah, I would buy the one on sale.
I can't wait to play Zelda games ever.
Right. And the best news is, if you don't own a Switch yet, the ones they're selling right now, as far as I know, still have that on-chip hackability, right? So if you buy this one and then decide later to upgrade to the new Switch, you would be able to turn this Switch into a homebrew system, which I would never encourage or deny you to do, and I would actively discourage you to do it, because if you ever connect that Switch online, Nintendo will brick it for you.
Yep.
They will ban your account if you connect it online. So I do, and especially if you use it for cheating. So don't do these things. However, there are people out there who do that. So I'm saying you might be able to sell it to somebody who would be interested in doing that with your old Switch. I would encourage you to personally do it and then download a homebrew emulator and then play every video game ever made for free.
No, you shouldn't do
Because
that.
I would never encourage you to do
do
that. Because, pay for your games. What do you guys think about Nintendo Online now that you've had a little bit of time to pay for it? Have you paid for it?
I have paid for it. I have played Dr. Mario quite a bit. And I started to play the Zelda game, but it's like the Super Zelda game that starts you with all of the items, and I actually kind of was bummed out about that. It's not fun. They took all of the fun discovery out of Zelda.
Yeah. So there was the original, when originally released, it wasn't that version. Did they update it to that version?
I'm not sure. Whenever I clicked on it about a week and a half ago, that's the version I had.
Yeah, the easy one. I think the older version. I think you still have the option of playing the old version, because
I probably do.
I put a little bit of time into Balloon Fight, which was weird because I'd never played that game, and I'm surprised I missed it back in the day, back when I was a baby, before you guys were a twinkle in your daddy's eye. But so there's only like 30 games on there now, and a lot of them are not particularly good, and there's a lot missing.
Yeah, but there is a lot missing. That's true. But I mean, it's kind of the industry standard on consoles to pay for the online service.
Right.
It sucks. I'm not happy about it. But
I'm not happy about it either. I haven't paid for it yet.
It is definitely the cheaper price, because I pay for Xbox
Yes.
Live, and that's $50 a year, $60 a year. Play for PlayStation, that's $50 or $60 a year. I do pay for Xbox Game Pass, which I think was a very smart investment, one of the best investments you can make, not for PC but for Xbox. I think it's one of the best investments you can make.
There's talks of it coming to PC.
Yeah, there is a version of it on PC. There's just no games under it right now. There's like 5 games. And I think if you have the Xbox version, you also have the PC version, if I remember correctly, because I think there was a way I could have played Sea of Thieves for free somehow, but I ended up just buying Sea of... Or no, I think I did. I think I did actually play Sea of Thieves for free via the PC version.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, lucky you.
I paid real money dollars for it.
They're really apprehensive to put the Halo games on there. I think they finally did Halo 5. I wonder if Halo Ultimate, because they have made the decision to put all of their exclusives into the Game Pass system. If you own an Xbox and you don't have Game Pass, you might be making a huge mistake, because the amount of money you will save compared to buying those games. There's even just one game on there you want to play. Instead of buying that game for 20, you spend 10 and play it throughout the month.
Yeah,
I think it's one of the best investments you can make. Anyway,
it's quite good.
Right. So Nintendo's is $25 a year, or is it $20 a year?
20. It is $20 a year. And if there is a family bundle that makes it even cheaper than that, but you need to have like a minimum of 6 or 8 accounts, I can't remember. But if you have a friend group and you can arrange it so that one person pays, you can make it like $15 for the year.
That's pretty good.
Right.
Which hang on, I thought it was $4 a month.
It is $5 a month, or you can pay the yearly amount.
Okay, got it.
And that's definitely the way to go. And I'm glad I'm glad we got some sort of emulation. I'm glad we got some,
absolutely.
It's better than nothing. I was hoping a lot more games, but I guess they're adding more every month. So
if you told me right now that I could pay $20 to be able to play Dr. Mario and Metroid for the year on my Switch, I'd probably do that.
Yeah, just for that.
Right.
Sure.
So
it's way cheaper than I initially thought. When I got the prompt to pay for it, I was like, $4 a month. Most of the games that I play on my Switch aren't online. They're all like JRPGs and shit like that, like Disgaea. So I had no need for it, so I kind of elected not to. But $20 a month, if I'm going to get all that emulation, that actually sounds like a really good deal.
Yep. Well, it's interesting because it's one of the very few times Nintendo seemed to listen, because that's what everybody asked for. And either it was organically an idea somebody had over there in Japan, or they listened to the audience. Either way, that's another thing I want to talk about. We didn't have this on the list of things we were going to talk about. Have you guys heard about PlayStation? Another thing I'm a little mad at PlayStation about right now. They're starting to censor games. This is
yeah, I've heard a little bit about this.
Oh,
so for the longest time, you mentioned JRPGs, and this is what brings it to mind. For the longest time, if you wanted to play a nice, sexy JRPG, PlayStation was the place to go. Not the case anymore. They are starting to severely censor some of the games coming over to the West, and I don't have any exact examples, but what have you heard about this, Jacob?
Mostly what you just said.
Yeah.
Most of the censorship that I know about comes from basically China's got some pretty strict censorship laws. So games, if they want to appeal to that market, have to match what they care about in terms of like art assets. So they can't show, I think it's bones or like skeletons. You can't have anybody smoking and so on. They have some pretty stringent things. And I think, Jacob, you were telling me about Ubisoft is doing that with Rainbow Six Siege.
Yes, so their language around it is we are going to make sure that the client is the same across all regions, which means all clients will be adhering to Chinese law because they are the strictest ones. Mainly just like changing background decorations on levels and stuff. There's a level that happens in a bar, and there's like a neon sign of a woman dancing on a stripper pole, and that changed to like just like a hand kind of making a gesture, stuff like that.
So this started when Senran Kaguri Burst Renewal recently got delayed on the PlayStation 4 as the platform holder asked publisher Xseed to remove a controversial mode which effectively allows you to fondle its cast of questionably aged virtual characters against their will. Some felt that given cultural context in 2018, the manufacturer had made the right decision, while others argued that they'd make up their own mind about the games they play. So, yeah, I'm pretty questionably aged is interesting. But I hear this is going on in other games. There's also chatter that the PlayStation maker has requested jiggle physics be removed from the PlayStation version 4 of Warriors Orochi 4, as they're presented in the Nintendo Switch release. There's still jiggle physics in the Nintendo version of the game, but PlayStation wants it removed from their version. What a time to be alive if Nintendo doesn't give a shit about titty jiggles, but PlayStation does.
Looking at an article right now for Dead or Alive Extreme 3 Scarlet, which I don't know if you know what that game is, but it is a spinoff of the fighting franchise with sexy ladies where they get in a pool wearing tiny bikinis to remove to questionable items is all it says. I'm not sure what they are. In the PlayStation 4 game, they're staying into the Switch game.
That's really interesting because if I remember something I read about that character, she's meant to appear to be fairly young, even though I'm sure she's of age. Which character is it? Scarlet? DOA Scarlet. I'm gonna Google her.
Dead or Alive Extreme 3 Scarlet. Just look for Extreme 3. You'll find it.
Yeah. So let's see. So I guess she's meant to be a younger looking character, and maybe that's part of the choice to make localization issues.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it looks like Dead or Alive 6 and Catherine Full Body Edition both are affected.
Right. It's interesting to see PlayStation move in that direction. You know, because for the longest time, PlayStation was just the place to go. If you wanted your JRPG games to be uncensored. Do you guys remember Gaijin Goomba? You remember he came over to our house a couple times? You remember he brought some
I remember
PlayStation game over that allowed you to like squirt your love on schoolgirls in a school?
No, I don't remember that.
What was the name of that game?
Galgun.
Galgun, that's the one, yep. Galgun Extreme 2, Squirt Your Love. Yeah, but that's the system that got published on, and now we're at a point where we don't.
I don't have a problem with that game existing. It's fine. I'm never gonna buy that game, right?
They make me horribly uncomfortable, honestly.
It makes me uncomfortable, but I can just not buy it, and like I don't have to interact with that. That's fine. I don't know if I want a company making that decision for me.
Right. Which is, again, it goes back to what we were talking about with Red Dead Redemption 2 and the controversy surrounding that game. I feel exactly kind of the same way about Red Dead 2. There's parts of Red Dead 2, certainly parts of Grand Theft Auto, that made me feel horribly, horribly uncomfortable. These games are definitely pushing the edge of the envelope of what I feel comfortable with, specifically when it comes to the violence. But I don't want a company making that choice for me. I want to make that choice.
Yeah, I want to make that choice.
And if somebody out there wants to play Red Dead Redemption 2 and they want to feed some dude to a crocodile and watch him get slowly mangled or,
Whatever.
yeah, that's cool. That's fine by me.
That's fine. They can do that.
I played 20 some hours of Red Dead Redemption. I still haven't fed anything to a crocodile. So, I know, I shot it. I shot a crocodile. I shot a crocodile.
Not a dog. I saw it.
Oh, it was so bad. I felt
down.
so bad about killing that dog. Why, Rockstar? Why? You think that was bad? So, once again, I killed another dog. This is in private time. But I'm playing.
Private time dog killings.
Yeah, I'm playing Red Dead, and there's a bunch of. I go into this cabin, and I'm looting it, and the people who own that cabin are dead. They just died at the dinner table. And so I hear voices, and I see red on my mini map, and it's bounty hunters. And I'm like, uh-oh. I'll just try to hide in this building. Let's see if that works. So sure enough, it worked. Until a dog came bursting through the front door. And so I'm like, what do I do? Do I try to kill the dog? Because the dog is barking. And one of the guys goes, hey, is there someone there? And I'm like, fuck. So I'm like, I'll ignore this dog. I do not want to kill a dog. Good. So I stand there, let the dog bite me for a second, realize this dog is going to kill me if I don't run, so I decide to try to run. Now, they start shooting me with bullets over and over and over again. My horse is a little ways away, so I decide to just start opening fire on these bounty hunters. There's only 6 of them, and I've got a bunch of potions, so I'm going to be fine, or health tonics or whatever.
I was like, there are potions?
So I just start firing away. Pop,
Elixirs.
I get 3 of them in the head with my dead eye right off the bat. So there's only 3 left. And then the dogs are still there, and they're attacking me. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So I'm like, I'll shoot the dogs. I have to. It has to happen.
No, you kill yourself.
So I shoot the first dog, and then I shoot the second dog, and then the first dog didn't die. He's just on the ground whimpering. Why, Rockstar? Why do you make me... It felt so bad. So at that point, I'm like, I guess I have to put him down, right? Because he's going to die one way or the other. I got to do it. I got to do the right thing. But the game is so real in my mind, and that dog whimpering is so real... I feel guilty about making the decision to do it, so I pull out the pistol, I finish the dog off, and then I logged out of the game because I felt so bad. It's not even enjoyable right now. I don't want to, I wanted to enjoy killing those bounty hunters. I was playing a game of hide and go seek, and and then I just went and picked up Sammy, and I gave him an extra treat, and I loved on him for the next 20 minutes while watching Netflix. But what? I don't know.
Along the same lines in the Pokemon Let's Go games. There's a new dialogue thing for whenever your main Pokemon, Eevee or Pikachu, gets quite hurt, and it says, it looks like your Eevee's in a pinch. It looks like it might cry.
I saw that one.
That's not okay. No, you can't do that to me, Nintendo. What the fuck, man? You can't make this actually like dog fighting, because now I'm not okay with it.
I feel bad now.
Up until now, I thought they were all having fun.
My Eevee was poisoned, and I was just going to ignore it till the end of the fight. And then on the second round of battle of that fight, my Eevee cured its own poison, and the game said it did it because it didn't want you to worry about it. I'm like, oh my god, this is how realistic. You're making me love my Pokemon, which is weird because normally it's just dog fighting. I'm Michael Vick, I guess. I don't know. I feel
everything else aside in that game, it is impossibly charming.
Yeah.
Yep.
As soon as I picked it up, I'm just smiling the whole time, even with the shortcomings that we talked about. It's so adorable.
And so what I think it teaches us, Blizzard, what I think it teaches us, Bethesda, what it teaches us is it's okay that it's not a mainline game. If it is cute, if it is fun, if it is good. That's what we're upset about. A lot of people are saying you're upset that Diablo Immortal is not a mainline game, and there is part of that, and there are people out there who feel that way. But if it's good, if it's fun, if it's well-rounded, if you don't microtransaction the living hell out of it, then we don't mind so much. If Fallout 76 had got put on the back burner, if Diablo Immortal was coming to PC and it wasn't filled with microtransactions, it wasn't a free-to-play piece of crap, if it was somewhere like this Pokemon game is, which is still has things to appeal to the casual crowd, has things to appeal to the mainline crowd, we all went into that game hoping to maybe hate it a little bit. I went into it hoping to hate it. I watched it get played at E3, and I'm like, I hate this game. This is dumb. This is going to be terrible. And I fell in love because it's good. Please do that to us. Please do that to us. Just make your games good. And it doesn't matter that it's hardcore. It doesn't matter that it's mainline. It doesn't matter. There'll always be holdouts who are pissed. You can't help those people, right? There's plenty of Pokemon fans right now who are bombarding the Pokemon Let's Go user feedback on Metacritic. This game is not a mainline game. It doesn't have all the mechanics. They took stuff out of it. I burn them. Right? Those people are going to exist. But there are plenty of people like us who are...
they're cheating themselves, right? Like, they're missing out on an enjoyable experience because they, I don't know, expect it to be built for exactly them.
And guarantee is a mainline game somewhere along the lines too, so it'll
which
be
they have,
people. Right? Exactly. Which is what they did successful. Where was the Fallout, or what was the next Fallout announcement? Right? Where's the next Skyrim announcement? Where's something?
I mean, we kind of have those, but they're far. What's the
right? And where the hell's the Diablo announcement? If you guys are working on Diablo 4, bring us something. Bring us something.
Sure.
I mean, show us a JPEG with a song, on the main stage.
Right.
That's apparently that works. That's fine. They're like, hey, Elder Scrolls 6, 40 years in the future. Here's a JPEG.
And there's been a lot of interviews and stuff following up the Diablo Immortal thing of like developers who are like abandoning ship over there at Blizzard and are just like frustrated with the company. And like apparently they did away with like Christmas bonuses this year, so there's no bonus. Like all kinds of really shady, crazy stuff. Blizzard's just not the company that it used to be, which is a real shame. And I guess Total Biscuit, who was always a huge Blizzard fan his entire life, was very hesitant to openly criticize as much as he normally would about Activision making the purchase. But he was still willing to say it, even though he has friends at the company. He's just like, man, I don't know if this is the right decision. And, John didn't live to see the state of things that Blizzard has become, boy. But I'm glad there are people out there complaining instead, because I know he would be livid to see that company do what it's been doing. What other talking points?
On a lighter note, and speaking of like making games fun, can we talk about Artifact for a minute?
Yeah, so that was a weird controversy that lasted 4 hours. So for those of you who are not paying attention, Artifact is a brand new game based on DOTA, Defense of the Ancients, run by the folks over there at Steam. It's the first game that what's the folks at Steam?
Just a quick little correction. It is actually called Dota.
Dota, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, they stopped calling it Defense of the Ancients?
It is not called DOTA because someone else owns that.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's just Dota.
Valve owns the term Dota.
Yep.
Weird.
Specifically Dota 2.
As a word, Dota 2.
As a word, Dota.
Dota 2. Okay.
Yeah, Defense of the Ancients is owned by someone else.
So the guy who made Magic the Gathering, Richard Garfield, got hired by them to make their card game for them. And this game is complex and convoluted and weird, and I can't wait to play it.
There's like 3 boards at once.
Yeah, it's really complicated.
I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm excited.
The gameplay.
I will never stream it because the idea of someone trying to watch that game, if they don't know much about it, is impossible. And if you do know a lot about it, it's still hard to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can only imagine.
Right. So as an esport, this is dead in the water right off the bat. I don't know what they were trying to do.
I don't know. Maybe they've got a really weird system for that because there isn't a ladder to grind, which is what we're kind of used to in all of these collectible digital card games. And it seems to be entirely tournament focused.
Yeah,
which is
like that's what they want for their esports.
Which it should have been more watchable then, because it is that's one of the most common critiques I've heard from the pros.
I've heard that too. Yeah. If the game is fun, that's what Artifact is built around, right? Hearthstone and all these other things are like, well, Hearthstone, whether it's fun or not, it's very accessible. Anybody can get into Hearthstone, right? Gwent is beautiful. Magic has its storied history. Artifact, all of its systems are based around, but the game is fun to play. There's no ladder to keep you coming back. There's not really any way to go infinite in terms of like a free-to-play method. You're going to have to spend money on the game.
Well, so that was one of the biggest controversies, is that originally when they announced the game and the beta lifted, like the NDAs lifted, people explained the pay-for system, and apparently you could barely do anything for free. Your initial $20 bought you some cards, but those cards were not guaranteed to be any good. There's just some really crappy cards in the game, even at the rare slot. Right?
I can go ahead and I have a breakdown of what everything costs in the game right now.
As of the announcement, or as of what it costs now? Because at the time of the announcement, at the time of the announcement, it's very important. You guys understand, people were very upset that there's basically nothing you could do for free, even with your original $20 investment, to play in almost anything. To draft cost money, to play constructed cost money, it cost event tickets to do anything. If you wanted to play with the cards you already bought, you still had to spend money on some form. So within,
that is no longer the case.
Yeah, within 4 hours of that announcement, Steam backrolled that, and now what's the situation, Jacob?
Okay, so it is still a $20 buy-in. You get 2 starter decks that have reasonably good cards, as well as
10 boosters, I think.
10 boosters, which have 12 cards apiece, which you're not guaranteed to get amazing cards, but you might.
One rare.
You're guaranteed one rare, but who knows? I mean, like Magic, Hearthstone, all of those games have duds in those slots as well.
But at least there is no like legendary or mythic. It's just rare or not rare.
Right. And then you also get 5 event tickets. The boosters for the 12 cards cost $2 a piece, and a bundle of 5 event tickets costs $5. So you're getting like a reasonably good value. It's basically like they made you buy the introductory starter kit that a lot of other games that are free to play offer. But MTG Arena says, here, give us $5 and we'll give you a slightly better deal one time.
So I don't know if I missed it when you said it, but there's also supposed to be free Phantom drafts as well.
Yeah. So right, I was going to get to that. So there are free versions of all of the paid versions. They offer no rewards. So you can do a small little constructed event for free, but you won't get any rewards. You can do a Phantom draft either with random people online or with your friends even, but there's no prizes and you don't get to keep your cards. But that's stuff you can do for free for practice.
Right.
Yeah, to have fun.
And I think that's the best way to play the game is draft, is what I've heard from a lot of the pros. So doing that for free will make you want to invest in the actual cards. So I think I think it's pretty cool. And that is Steam's policy, really. Like, who's the company that owns Valve?
Valve.
You know, like Valve once said when they were trying paid mods, they said when you upset the internet, you use millions of dollars a day. They were ready to reverse this within minutes. They were ready to come up with a compromise within minutes. That's one of the reasons Valve continues to be one of my favorite companies, a company that I love to put money in. I wish they made more video games. You know. And so
the most recent controversy was in these packs, you can open the starter heroes that everybody is guaranteed to have.
Right.
And there was no incentive to basically you got nothing out of those packs.
Yes.
Right.
It was a literal dud pack.
It was an actual dud. They're not going to be worth anything. Everybody has those cards. And previously there was not anything to do with them. They are adding a way to break down cards, basically a dusting system from Hearthstone.
But because there's no crafting system, what you're doing is basically trading in a collection of cards for event tickets.
Right.
Which is, I mean, that's
currently.
Fine. Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable.
That is what they've said. That system should be launching because it goes into open beta or release. I don't actually know what they're calling it on November 28th. And that system should be implemented around that time.
So
I have seen on the internet, on Reddit, because I've been trying to follow Artifact a lot recently because it's coming out on the 28th, right? That's when everybody gets access to it. And like it looks exciting to me. So much of the hate is there's no ladder. What's the point, right? How can I be competitive if nobody can see my high numbers? The game should be fun. If the game is fun, I'll want to play it.
Yep.
And if it is fun, it's going to make people realize how, I don't know, not fun they're having playing the other card games that they're playing only to grind ladders.
Yeah.
So So this actually brings me into I want to talk about a controversy that happened with this game, and then wants me to lead into another card game, a little bit of card game talk here. Starting off with a card that Valve had to change. They created a card called Crack the Whip. Now, that in itself is not a problem for me, in my opinion. Here's where the problem came in. The text on this card read, modify a black hero with, after you play a black card, give this hero and its allied neighbors +2 attack this round. Now, I think I'm glad that they changed the name of this. And I'm one of those people who are always like, hey, call a card wherever you want, do whatever you want to do, play it however you want to play it. Crack the Whip by itself was not a problem. I think once we realized what the card did...
Sure.
Maybe
it's too easy to draw a parallel, right?
Right. Maybe that was a little too on the nose.
I mean, it was probably an unintended thing, right? They have different design mechanics for the different colors of the cards. And that just sort of slipped through. Nobody noticed the connotations
Right.
that it would have. And their response to it was, oh, yeah, you're right. We'll change it.
Right, which is great.
And-
I know a lot of
Great.
people were mad at Artifact for making that decision. I think it was the right decision. Now, a company that I'm not so sure I agree with, there's another card game that just came out called KeyForge. Once again, Richard Garfield designed this one as well. And what's really interesting about KeyForge is you buy a starter deck, and then that starter deck has to stay together. And you get a randomly designed deck that is computer generated, and there's some cards, like there's a decks that'll have the 4 horsemen in them. Those decks are selling for like $500-600. You paid $9.99 to get it because people are desperate to get the really, really good cards. Now, they also had some unfortunate naming as well, and because of that, they banned those decks. Not just the cards in those decks, but the actual decks. Specifically, I believe they referred to gypsies, which I guess is a word I apologize for using that word if it's offensive. I presume that it is offensive. But it's interesting that we're at a point where, we're trying to make those kinds of changes. I don't necessarily think they are bad to want to make those kinds of changes. I'm looking now. There's an article here. It says some unfortunate KeyForge deck names include Titan Flare, the Farmer of Racism, which is a deck name, and General Bone Rider Cult. So these are procedurally generated names.
That last one.
For right, and so when you buy a KeyForge deck, though, you're guaranteed to get a unique deck with a unique name, Titan Flare. The Farmer of Racism.
That's unfortunate.
How does that happen?
How does that happen?
I mean, for some reason, that word racism was within the pool of words that it could pull from. For some, it's beyond me why they would include
algorithm
that.
It's General Bone Rider Cult.
Well, these are like Boba Rosewater, like a neural net made magic cards.
Here's another one. The Villain That Digs Up Porridge.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
I'm into that, right?
Yeah, I'm into that one.
That one's good.
It sounds like they came up with a good system, and then they put some words
They
in
accidentally
that
put the word
should not
racist
be
in
in.
Cliffmon, the Oregon Scholar of the Forest.
I'm there.
Regital, Fjord Sophomore. The survivor who grimaces at politics.
Why is politics in their pool?
Yeah, that definitely. See, words like that are clearly like, oh, this is gonna
That's a problem.
make something
Right?
bad in the future. We should know better than this.
Yeah, you should.
Oh. So a lot of people are calling KeyForge the next coming of Magic the Gathering. A lot of people are investing a lot of money in that game. Oh my God. Oh, if I don't show this one on screen, you're not going to believe this one. I have to show you this one. Oh my God. I don't think this game is going to be as famous as people think it's going to be, but stuff like this sure will push it to mass media discussion, which may be why they did it.
Maybe.
I haven't played this game yet, so I don't know if it's good or not. Here it is. It's on screen right now. I'll read it out loud for those of you who can't see it. This is The Emperor That Pays for Boys. What the hell, Richard Garfield? What?
Well, hold on. I don't think he made that decision.
Yeah, I don't think a human made that decision, right?
No, a robot definitely
A
made
robot
that.
made that decision. A human made the decision to allow the word boys.
Yes.
That
That's a
probably
weird move.
was a mistake, right?
Oh,
you shouldn't
God.
have allowed the word boys.
Oh, God.
It's a funny word. It's kind of entered the common lexicon, but that's when you're talking about like, yeah, pizza puppy dog boys, not the emperor who pays for it.
Congratulations on the most offensive card game to ever exist. And there are straight up porn card games that existed, for God's sakes. And this,
Well, hang on, what?
you remember Phil Foglio and his wife Kaja? They had a porn-based collectible trading card game back in the 90s.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like all like sexy drawings by Phil Foglio, and it's about like it's a sexy game. You're supposed to play with your girlfriend or whatever. Like anybody playing TCGs as girlfriends back in the 90s, especially.
TCG.
Yeah.
I got a trade binder filled with porn.
Yeah. God, I wish I could remember. It was like Triple X something. They call it like Triple X. I don't know. It was a good game. It was fun. It was mechanically it was a fun game, and it had tits on the card. So, oh boy, we got way off track there.
We did. All right. So I don't know how much time do we have left in the show.
I don't know. I don't know. Let's just keep going. My question is, so you know a little bit about KeyForge, right, Ellis? You were talking about that last week.
No, I don't know nothing about no KeyForges.
I bought us a starter kit. So
okay,
if it's cool, I'll buy a box of starters. You can get it. It's still available on like Amazon and stuff.
So is it a physical card game or a digital card game?
It's a card game, and I wish it was digital. That'd be way more interesting.
Well, then you could just like fix the whole problem with their word pool.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
easily.
Yeah. But now this is already on paper. But if you think about it, if this game did catch on like Magic did, and it won't, because nothing will ever catch on like Magic did. But if it did catch on like Magic, and you got the deck, and you got a card named, the Emperor that gave porridge for boys or whatever, you get some insane deck, right? That can never exist. Boy politics, McGillicuddy, slam dunk.
McGillicuddy,
whatever. Yeah, I don't know,
man. I'm into that.
Right, like dunk. That's the alpha. That's the Black Lotus. Black Lotus of KeyForge cards. You can show up to a tournament, a legacy tournament 20 years from now, and sit down with the guy who paid for boys with porridge, and and just win, man. Just win all night. Get the 4 horsemen in your deck. All right, well, we'll talk about KeyForge a little bit more next time. What other topics you got for us, Jacob?
So let's talk a little bit about Hitman 2, the first elusive target, which, if you're not familiar, if you haven't played...
What is an elusive target?
So the way elusive targets work in Hitman is they are limited time targets that you have to kill, and they will show up for a weekend or maybe a couple of weeks, and you get one shot at killing them. If you fail the mission or if you die, that's it. You get one shot at doing it. They have had celebrity guests previously, but the first elusive target for Hitman 2 is Sean Bean. He is appearing.
Is he Sean Bean as Sean Bean or Sean Bean as a character in Hitman?
Okay. He is playing a character named Mark Faba, who has earned the reputation as impossible to kill. Now, if you know anything about Sean Bean, every character he plays is the exact opposite of that.
He dies in every movie.
He dies in every single movie. So the character has even earned the nickname The Undying for the number of times he has escaped assassinations by faking his own death. And now you, as Hitman,
way to go,
are charged with setting up an elaborate plan to get him to actually die this time. And you get one shot at it, otherwise he gets away. And become another story in his legend of the Undying.
Do you get anything for killing the target, like anything special or unique, or is it just bragging rights of like, no, I killed Sean Bond?
I think it's bragging rights. I'm actually not 100% sure what you get. I'm going to admit something to you guys right now. I've never actually killed any of the elusive targets. I've tried several, and I failed all of them.
For shame.
Man.
It's okay. I'm not good at that game, but it's whatever.
I couldn't really get into hitting the last Hitman game, so I don't know.
You don't really like stealth games.
Yeah, right, it's a puzzle game. You don't like puzzle games.
It is a stealth puzzle game.
I like stealth games that let me just brute force them. So
sure,
that's why I like Uncharted 4, right?
Yeah. This game you kind of can. You can some levels, Gears of War style, like gun some people down, move over, pick up their guns, because you will run out of ammo. You can like kill a couple hundred people in a level and still make it out.
That's what I like about like stealth. In a stealth game, that like I try to stealth and then I screw up and then the game's not over. I get to continue to try. That's what I like, and like just murder everybody from that point forward, right?
Sure. You definitely can do that in Hitman,
right?
And like just finish the level killing everybody, but you get less points. They definitely want you to do challenges. There's a challenge in every level called Silent Assassin.
So, somebody pointed out in chat that I am bad at all video games, so of course I hate that game because it requires some patience and technical expertise.
Yeah.
Well, you just don't derive joy from those kinds of things. Yeah. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm not shaming you for it.
No, it's perfectly fine.
I want more porn.
Unlike Jacob, I'm shaming you.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
You haven't killed an elusive target, and
No,
you
I haven't.
like those games.
Yeah, so but you don't
Unacceptable.
you don't
I'm
like
not
get
good
like a unique title or a unique something like.
I'm not sure on that.
That's interesting.
I don't know. You might, but you might not. I actually do not know. But yeah, no. So the first elusive target in Hitman 2 is Sean Bean.
That makes me want to buy the game just for that.
Right.
If you buy Hitman 2, it comes
Yeah.
with Hitman 1.
Oh, okay.
You just get both games.
Well, thanks. Who developed this?
IO Interactive.
IO Interactive.
Do I get a
Send me-
discount? Do
and
I
I
get
have
a
free
discount if I
copies of things.
bought Hitman 1 on deep discount back when it was on sale?
That I'm not sure. I haven't checked into that. But yeah, no, that's got me excited about playing some more Hitman. I like the elusive targets.
And then I guess we're talking about games that have come out. Let's talk about Battlefield 5 for a second. Nobody here has played it, right?
Nope.
And
I have not played a single Battlefield game.
Oh, that's so. Battlefield 1 was incredible. Or I accidentally
keep
call it
hearing
Battlefield
that.
4 all the time. But Battlefield 5 is now officially out, and with 41 critics weighing in, it's actually setting in an 81.
Wow.
And a lot of people have said a lot of the controversial stuff they were pushing. They said like a lot of it's not as bad. Now this is a game that I will warn you. I feel like maybe got skewed a little bit because of the controversy. I think critics may be weighing it a little higher than usual. User scores are like 3.6, so the users are still really mad. But I don't care too much about user score. But that said, it is an incomplete game because they have a battle royale mode that's not out yet. The co-op mode is not out yet. Those things are coming out in 2019. So if you buy the game now, know you're buying an incomplete version of the game. And it had one of the worst release schedules of all time because if you bought the super digital deluxe, I forget what they call it, the ultimate version, you got to play a little bit early. And then if you bought the next tier down, you got to play a little bit earlier. And then if you bought the standard version of the game, the $60 version of the game, you basically had to wait a full week before you could start playing. So EA being EA over there.
Just EAing up every game they play.
But it looks like the game is not as bad as people had anticipated that it would be. And it does still have a single-player campaign, which some people have said has been very interesting to play. So I probably will pick it up at some point for the single-player.
I can't be excited for a game that isn't as bad as people thought it would be.
Right. I mean, compared to Battlefield 1 on Metacritic, its overall score ended up at... I think it's in the 90s. It's having trouble loading it right now.
Hey, Boogie, I think your
89.
camera has frozen.
Your cam froze.
Yay! Well, I've been having all kinds of problems with my computer, so I am not real surprised. Well, any other topics we absolutely have to talk about before we get out of here now that my camera has died?
I think they can keep.
Yeah, we can talk about stuff next week.
All right. Well, hey, did you have a weird question for us this week, Jacob, for the people in chat, for the people watching, and for the people in the comment section down below? Did you prep us one?
I do. I have.
I think Ellis has one this week.
So recently, swords have become open carry in Texas. You can carry a sword around legally in Texas, as long as you're not concealing it. If you stick that sword in like a summer sausage, is that considered concealing the sword?
How much of the sword needs to be showing to be considered not being concealed?
Yes.
Is that your question?
That is my question.
What the hell?
I have a hard time
around with a summer sausage with a handle sticking out of it. Is that okay?
Well, listen, I have a hard time answering this question because my response would be I'm going to just carry my entire claymore around, showing it to everyone.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to conceal that sword. I want them to know I have a sword.
I'm going to get a seat in the movies for Frostborn the next time I go. So me and speaking of movies, by the way, because I don't want to lead them too much. I want to see your weird answers in the comment section. But
yeah,
went and saw Ralph Wrecks the Internet, which they did not call it that. They called it Ralph Breaks the Internet. Why is it not Wrecks the Internet? Pretty good. Have you guys seen it?
No, I
haven't
have not
watched
seen
it
it.
yet.
I'm excited to though.
I do highly recommend it. I think you can wait till it comes home. Because it's got some good moments. It's not like a crazy movie. There's no spoilers or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wanted to say for those of you out there who are on the fence about seeing it, I loved it. It's one of my favorite Pixar films right now. It was really, really good. Made me. It did make me cry, which is good for a Pixar film.
Yeah.
The Toy Story.
They're good at doing that.
The trailers for Toy Story 4 were better than the movie, but it was still pretty good. All right, guys, we should wrap it up. As usual, there's going to be links in the description box below about ways you can support us. You can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/BoogieTune8. You can subscribe to the channel. You can drop a like on this video. You can leave a comment. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching on Twitch, you can always subscribe, or you can follow us here. And while you're there on Twitch, you can go to twitch.tv/big_breakfast and watch my friends who do almost exactly what we did today, 5 days a week. They interact with chat, they interact with donations. You can come, subscribe, set and talk to them, ask them weird questions. They will ask you weird questions.
We love some weird questions.
Yeah,
That's most of what we do.
They're live 5 days a week. This is my good friend Jacob and my good friend Ellis, who will be doing Thanksgiving dinner with tomorrow. We're going to wrap it up. One other question for you, who made it all the way to the end of this podcast. Let us know what you think. There is that forum
Please.
in the description section. And we're looking at a way to monetize. We've talked about sponsors, but sponsors can be annoying for listeners. We've talked about Patreon specifically for this podcast. We've talked about ways to make sure that these guys have the rent and electricity and water and gas paid so they can continue to do what they do for a living. If you guys want to figure out a way to support them, you can always support them over there on their Twitch channel directly for now at big_breakfast. But if you want to support the podcast itself as a venture, let us know what way you'd best like to do that. Would you like to listen to some sponsors once a week? Would you rather throw a few bucks into a Patreon? Let us know. Guys, as always, thanks for watching. I love you very much. And I'll
love you
speak
too.
with you again soon.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye.
Good.